What words or experiences first came to mind when you heard Daniel Canal?
Smartass.
Self-possessed, mature, responsible, calm person, and self-confident, clearly at the high level of achievement for his peers in terms of Francis Lewis students.
I think he had a good sense of humor, and in class I kind of was able to see that along with his incredible intelligence that he displayed throughout the year.
When he wants something, he just goes for it. He overwhelms you with what it is that he wants to do, and the job of getting it done, it's done in time, and it's done really, really well.
What classes did you have with him?
So I met Daniel in my second year of Japanese when we had Japanese together.
The first class I had with him was College Now, and it was in Queens College, and we took a class called College Now Writing, where he and a couple other students from Townsend Harris, Francis Lewis, and I think a few other high schools would come to go take college credit. And I also have a class with him today, senior year of high school, which I share AP Economics with.
He was a very interesting student because he wasn't like the other kids in the class. He would very head-on attack the course, and he would definitely ask the teacher questions when he could. He was one of those that I would work with a lot because I suppose I have the same interest in Japan as he does, so we were able to have a lot of interesting discussions about what we found interesting about Japan. And we also had AP Literature together, which we have this year, and he is very, very, I would say, opening in what he does in class because he brings in a lot of new perspectives to what he has to say about certain topics like Shakespeare's poems or certain books such as 1984. And he just gives the class a new set of directions that we can take in analyzing the book or poem itself.
Do you remember any assignments, presentation, or projects that Daniel did which you thought were very well constructed? Can you talk about it?
Yes. Maybe about 10 days ago, Daniel was giving a current events presentation. All the kids in the macroeconomics class were expected to find an article about economics, bring it in and talk to the class about it. He did his story about bitcoins, which have been in the news recently, and it's a complicated subject. They're confusing, I'm confused by them, but obviously this is something that has been a personal interest of Daniel's for some time, and he's very well informed on the subject. He was able to explain it very cogently, and I was impressed by his degree of sophistication on what for most teenagers would be something that they just heard of but they really didn't know anything about.
Yeah. The first thing I remember was his first actual presentation in front of a class in which he wrote a story about I believe a father whose child is suffering from leukemia. And it's a very sensitive subject, obviously. And the way Daniel narrated it and wrote the story, I really felt like it actually got me emotional. And yeah, other than that, he just did stuff like that throughout the time we've known each other. He's a very great writer and a very, very gifted actor.
He did several presentations on various different environmental issues, including the Fukushima reactor explosion and the things that went along with that. And he did also another one where they created a miniature city, the city of the future, in order to solve environmental problems. Both of these, Daniel took a leading role in planning the project and in presenting the project, and he pulled his partners along with him to do a good job.
Yeah, a couple of assignments come to mind when I think of Daniel. First is not one in particular, it's just his quality of writing was superior to a lot of his peers. And so I think that'll help him tremendously in college. And the second thing that I do remember is a specific project that we did. One of the projects that I asked our students to do last year was to take on the role of a president, or either a president or a candidate for a certain election. Daniel had to take on the role of Andrew Jackson and kind of do a campaign speech as Andrew Jackson, and from what I remember, he dressed up as Andrew Jackson, and he kind of got into his personality, and it was pretty pretty well done. He put a lot of graphics into it, and it showed kind of a lot of his extra effort that he put into the class in general.
So this year, there was the Japanese Hanamatsuri, which was held at the, I believe, the United Nations school, where a bunch of Japanese students from other schools would come and participate. And during the event, you would have to often answer questions in Japanese, and it would test your skills. And Daniel was very, very excited for this because he was able to interact with people from Japan itself. So using Japanese, he was able to communicate with them. Even if he couldn't really get his point across by using the right words, he would still try to find the right words that would convey how he felt. And it really impressed me that he was so interested, because most people aren't as culturally aware anymore. So Daniel's really interesting when it comes to this point.
Yes, one of the assignments, well, one of the projects that we had to do was in Queens College. When we were taking the class, the professor split us up into 2 groups and just split the class in half. And we basically had to write a rap about why we think rap is a good type of music. And the other half would have to write a rap about why it isn't a good type of music. And as soon as we wrote it, Daniel volunteered to go up, and he actually performed the rap all by himself up there in front of the whole class. And I thought that was just a great way to show everyone that you can have fun and learn at the same time.
Where do you see Daniel in the future? What do you think he will be doing?
That's very hard to say because at this point he could go in so many different directions. If he is interested in business, he could have an outstanding career in the business world. I could also easily see him as an academic. He's a more serious kid than most students. But for all I know, he wants to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I see no reason why he couldn't excel in any of the fields that I've just mentioned.
I see him being a successful, possibly a successful actor, possibly a successful designer of video game components, possibly an environmental scientist. He could go in any one of those 3 directions because he has the ability to do that.
I could see him taking a lot of different paths as a college student. And so I think, like a lot of young students, that book is kind of yet to be written. And so I think he can go in a lot of different directions.
We are helping Daniel make this video to send to Williams College Admissions Department.
If you could tell the admissions department one thing, what would it be?
You'd be doing Daniel as much a service as he would be doing your college a service if you accepted him into this. He's very passionate about his education, and he's very passionate about his future.
Daniel is very inspiring in a sense because he isn't afraid to say what he has to say. He's very determined. He won't back down from his goals, and he's just very globally and in the nation very concerned about everything. So I think that he would be a good addition to Williams because he's able to bring so many new concepts and ideas that it'd definitely be very innovative for the future if you think about it, because Daniel's just that kind of person.
Because I've spent a lot of time at Williams and because I work there as a research scientist, I think Daniel will fit into Williams perfectly. He's got the right set of characteristics that will make him an active part of the community. If he wants to do the drama program, he's ideally positioned to do that. He has the right skills to get into that.
You know, if you don't accept Daniel, you're missing out on a fantastic opportunity to have a great young man in your school. And I think it's worth the chance to bring him into your school and see what he can do and to improve your university.
Daniel is a go-getter. He has this passion, and I think that's so great about him because when he wants something, he goes and gets it. In school, in Francis Lewis High School especially, you can take 3 APs at most, but he pushed and he got 4 APs because he went back and he talked to assistant principals and he got it done because he knows that that's what he really wants. He takes classes that he really likes and he shares his enthusiasm with others.
Listen to my video.
That's really good.